Hello, viewers. Welcome to the channel. This is Unbiased News, and this is a pilot episode of the Pro Bro Show. Don't be a no bro, be a pro bro. Be for something. We have so many people yelling on the internet, in politics, in team sports, and fandoms and everything. We don't necessarily have to be just politics either here, Voltaire. We could be unbiased news about anything. So there's lots of possibilities with this series. I do know Voltaire, my good pal, which is one of the most unbiased pundits on live streams. I've collaborated with so many people over the years. I do feel like you can handle it a lot more, especially considering your off-air life. I don't know if you want to share that or not, but whatever. You've had experience with dealing with certain things. But one of the things you said you might like to do on the Pro Bro Show, and yeah, get your comments in of what you want to see in this series, is helping men out. There is a man crisis in America for sure. Whether you think there should be or not, and the biggest swing in politics is the demographics with men, right?
Well, that's what they say caused the last election for Trump to win, right? Was the swing of young men going to Joe Rogan and that kind of thing. So yeah, absolutely.
So you would actually, we're not just here to be critical of people. We actually want to help people, right?
So I'm completely, I have no agenda. I do
no
think
agenda.
Positivity in general is great because I'm a man. I'm more prone to helping young men or other men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not against women or anything. It's just I can help men because I'm a man. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I am
through your lived experience.
Masculinity.
No, I will say I'm not getting into the story here that my friend Voltaire has helped me personally reach goals. And he wasn't mean about it. He just played it to me straight. He's like, stop feeling. One of the things I'll share is stop feeling sorry for yourself, but try harder, have some hobbies, do a few more things. You'll feel better. And it's helped. There's a lot more to that story, but we want to get to some topics here too on the pilot episode of the Pro Bro Show. Yeah. And we might like to have a guest every once in a while, sure, and spread positivity, but also be extremely critical without the bias. And we may want to stay independent media, right?
Well, I think that's the goal, right?
The independent media, yeah. All right, so remember when I told you when this tragedy happened with the Renee Good American losing her life. Now we can debate on the circumstances surrounding that, but let's maybe, because this is a hot topic. I told you this was going to be the big topic. I said, okay, there's a debate on whether she was aiming for the officer or she hit him. I said my biggest question is, and I think this could help across the board, because there's defund ICE now, and I am so nuanced, I am so independent that I say reform ICE, because I don't think you could just completely get rid of it. I don't. I know people are going to disagree with me on the left. I'm an independent thinker. I've never said defund the police. I've been more on the reform end. You can't just get rid of these things. They have to be reformed. I think being better and being more prepared and better trained is always a good thing. So I want to discuss what the topic, the video that's got popping on my channel right now was breaking news: ICE are not police. And right away, and Voltaire's here to correct me if I'm ever wrong. He is not afraid to say, Max, you're wrong here, and I will adjust, maybe do a retraction video or something. But factually, they are not the police. They are a different type of enforcement.
So this is where I disagree with you respectfully.
Okay, all right, you disagree with me. They are not, they are something different. They're a different type of enforcement.
So they are enforcing the laws on the books, everybody.
Yeah.
That's the reality, right? These are laws on the books. Now, Do they have police powers? Yes, they do. But
I don't think they're the same. They're limited, more limited.
In what way?
I feel like they have more. Well, first off, they have less training, which I want to get to is an issue.
That's fair.
They're less equipped. It's very confusing. The situation, I think, is creating volatile situations right now. But I do not believe, based on research from other lawyers, which we'll get to the video, that they have the same powers as a police officer or different type of agents. They can detain illegal aliens, but when you're talking about U.S. citizens, I think their powers are more limited, and they have to have a signed judicial warrant or in a case of obstruction. And this is where we're going to talk about the most, and this is the most of the agreement. I feel like one of my biggest issues with Trump is these pretexts to go to war, to do tariffs, to do violence. So if Renee Good is actually doing obstruction, then we can have a discussion. I think there should be a little bit higher bar than everything that these, I've been calling them ice tards on my channel just to piss people off. That these ICE agents are saying everything is obstruction for a pretense to be violent thugs. That is my personal opinion. I do not feel that the situations that I've seen have warranted actual obstruction or would hold up in court for obstruction. I know that is what they are claiming, and that's what the Trump fanboys 1,000% believe, that these are all cases of obstruction. Sometimes I think the Trump fanboys think just being a liberal or a protest is obstructing, and they would be okay with that. I had actual literal, and we'll get to the comments too, Voltaire. I had actual literal conversations with people in the comments section that said their only defense is they should have stayed home. That is not a defense. Protesters are allowed to protest.
100%. And that's one of the greatest.
That's the American way.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that is what I want to get to.
Dog agrees. It's one of the greatest American things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So maybe I will show the Callie. Please stop. Hold on. Let me bring up this quick video of people also say, I'm so tired of NPCs saying, stop watching mainstream media if you have an opinion different from theirs. Okay. You know, I do not like mainstream media across the board, entertainment or politics. I'm done with mainstream media.
Right. So before we do that, Max, I just want to tell you what the legal standard is. Okay.
Okay.
So for a cop to detain you or, start an investigation, therefore he's allowed to detain you or she is allowed to detain you, is that they have to have a reasonable suspicion of a crime being committed. And it's based on, okay, so this is the legal term. And again, I don't care. I'm a lawyer, so I'm just going to say I'm not a criminal lawyer, but I understand the law to some extent.
Yeah.
It's based on a specific articulable facts suggesting criminal activity.
Like they could have done what the government or Trump does all the time. I think she may have had fentanyl in the car or weapons of mass destruction, a pretext. I'm being an ass now. I'm sorry.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I am. Oh, you're right. I am being an ass. Okay.
No, right. I mean, like you're kind of stretching it, but no, it's not a bad example. So the police officer, and in this case, the ICE officer, has to have articulable facts. Articulable facts means that they can say in a court of law, here's why I think criminal activity was being engaged in.
Yes.
Okay. So probable cause is a different thing. Now, probable cause is like what you need for a warrant. Like, hey, this informant told me there's a bunch of cocaine in that house. That's probable cause, right? we've been told there's cocaine in that house. That's probable cause. But in the moment, they need articulable facts of why there's a crime being committed.
Okay. And based on what you've seen of some, I don't know how much research you've done of this potential protesters. One 20-year-old guy got he's blind in the eye, and they said he was on a loudspeaker, or there was a woman that was cut out of her car with do you think any of these examples that you've seen so far are reaching that bar without more context? I know you don't have all the answers. It helps. More context helps. But your initial impressions, do you think that the obstruction argument, that these situations are meeting that bar? I don't. I 1,000%
What are you talking about, Max? Are you talking about?
Well, first off, the most popular one, unfortunately, the one where the lady lost her life, Renee. Do you think that it's reaching, based on what you don't have all the information? We don't. It's impossible to have all of it. Based on the information that you've seen before recording this video, without doing more research, base level opinion, do you think it's reaching that bar of obstruction, Renee Good and her partner?
I don't know what. So the videos I've seen, I don't know what they're blocking. Her SUV is blocked. Okay. We're not talking about her being shot, right?
So that would right, just to enter the car, because that was before you get to the argument of, because people aren't going to agree if the agent was in danger or not, depending on what team you're on.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. Entering the car, because that's where I did the video, and that's where I said this is a hot topic, because it seems like she started driving off because one of the agents tried to enter the car and couldn't get in. That I watched the video many times, unfortunately, because it's a sad video. It's very gross, and people making light of any American dying is disgusting. I'm not going to try to cancel you for making jokes and stuff like that. I'm just going to say you're a horrible human being. But yeah, entering the vehicle with
telling her to get out of the vehicle is what you mean.
telling her to get out, and then when she started to, they tried to enter
right,
the door handle.
Right.
Did anything you see there in your initial viewings cause to say they had the right to enter that vehicle?
I'd want, if I was a judge, again, everybody, you be the judge, right? But if I was a judge, I would ask that officer, why are you asking her to get out of the car? Well, he's going to say she was obstructing my investigation, right? And if she is indeed obstructing his investigation, he has a right to tell her, get out of the car. All right? Obstruction is a crime, everybody. But I would ask the officer, what was she doing to obstruct your investigation? Tell me, what are your articulable facts? What can you tell me specifically that she was obstructing your investigation? So I don't know. You can't tell that from the video. Now,
it seems like it escalated. There's lots of things that I say that I think actually both teams can agree on. What's happening with ICE, both the public and ICE themselves may not know what they're allowed to. I don't think they're well trained. 47 days is did you hear that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
No, they cut it down to 47 days. You know why?
Why?
47th president.
Get out of here.
Nope.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
No, that is, but they cut it in half and they went with 47 days for reasons. No, unless it's debunked, that's 1,000% true. I've heard that multiple sources.
Yeah.
But the main thing that they cut out, which is not helping de-escalate things, is they cut out training for speaking foreign languages like Spanish. Like, not like full Spanish, but enough to converse with who you're detaining. You know, there's illegal immigrants across the world, but there's a large majority of them speak Spanish, right? So they cut that out. So I do feel and there was also before this tragedy happened, there was an internal document. I don't have the source right. I don't have those. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it. There was an internal document that said vehicles and ICE, there could be issues here. We need to look at it before this tragedy happened. So I think both on the ICE agents and the public are confused on what ICE agents are actually allowed to do. Are they allowed to direct traffic to disperse protesters? Are they allowed to do that? So I think there's mass confusion, lack of training, mass confusion on what their powers are, because we're trying to help make the situation better here. More info is going to be better for everybody, right? Regardless of where you end up on this argument.
Right.
What their powers are, what they're allowed to do with protesters and the public and U.S. citizens. I do feel like more training is better across the board for police, military, and ICE agents. And I am not satisfied personally with what I've seen of how they handle situations. And de-escalation, I think, should be a priority across the board, right?
Yes.
For enforcement, de-escalation. I don't see any attempt. I think they're all, they seem more like professional agitators. And also agent-to-agent communication. When I saw these videos, besides the horrific parts, it seems like the agents themselves, also because they're wearing masks, which I'm not even getting into that debate, but I don't know if their communication to each other was great. Like there was an agent on the right, to the right of Renee Good's vehicle, and an agent to the left. And they may have been telling Renee different things. And that is very confusing to someone that's under duress, a U.S. citizen, that's trying to get away and also under control of a motor vehicle. There's some people say she assume her intentions, maybe because she's a liberal or a protester, that she wanted to run him over. You cannot assume intention there.
Right.
We don't know if her intention was to run him over, if she did, or if she was confused and scared. Right.
So there's also the factor, again, I'm not defending anyone's actions or anything.
Yeah.
But there's also the factor of there are some people out there saying that ICE is the equivalent to the Nazi Gestapo, right?
They look like they're cosplaying it. That the one guy today, yes, I agree. Right. He looks like it. I actually was going to make a video. It looked like Cartman yelling at people, "Respect my authority."
Right.
The trench coat guy. He looked ridiculous, and I have a right to say you looked like it. He looked like an Otzi. I wanted to use Otzi so we don't get demonetized eventually, because I want monetization on Unbiased News.
Okay.
I'm the president and CEO of Unbiased News. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Max.
So calling them brown shirts and calling them, the equivalent.
I'm allowed to, yeah.
Yeah, that is. I also think that's problematic. Just talking about the other side of it, right?
Well, they look like they're professional agitators. I don't think they're. I feel like that guy that you're talking about, I don't know his name, that he feels like a LARPer of an Otzi.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
and the brown shirts, we all know what that was. If just look it up, Google brown shirts. So but calling them this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's some politicians out there, Max, who are saying stuff. If you want to come here, you got to go through me. You know what I mean? And you're kind of agitating people to say, like, these people are doing something completely illegal and we have to stop them. So no matter what you think, everybody, if you don't agree with their actions, they are enforcing the laws on the books. All right. The brown shirts back in the day in the 40s, they were trying to exterminate people. They were hunting people to literally exterminate them. This group is not doing. Look, I'm just being unbiased.
It's different, but I don't think they're much better.
Okay, but they're not trying to kill these people.
I think in some cases they are fine with casualties. To stress, we're having real talk here. I'm not joking. I really feel like there are some of these agents that are really undertrained, potentially former January 6ers that have violent tendencies.
That might be true. Yeah.
And there are some that just want you to give them a reason.
Correct.
And I feel that is those are the last people that should be in any type of enforcement.
So I've always said, listen, this is my personal opinion based on what I've seen in my profession. The guys who are cops versus the guys who are criminals. The guys who become cops have some of the same mentality of the people who become criminals. They just chose to become cops instead. What I mean by that is they're violent, they're aggressive, overly aggressive, and they kind of want to get down with it, if you know what I mean. But, they just chose a different side. So, do I think they're the same as the brown shirts or whatever?
Not exactly the same. Something different.
I think they're not even close, Max. I mean, sorry.
I would disagree with you there. I think they're on their way. They're on the track.
The brown shirts were rounding people up to put them into camps and eliminate them. The current thing is technically enforcing laws on the books to get people out of the country.
Well, here's the other thing, calling protest. This is where I've seen a lot of the Trump fanboys just use the term they're domestic terrorists now. They just say it's okay, and that does something in the mind to flip a switch that justifies any actions just by the pretext. Oh, they're domestic terrorists. Oh, they took out Maduro for fentanyl. No, it was about the oil. Stupid. All these pretexts to get.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and everybody should look at what Dr. Martin Luther King said. It was peaceful protest to exercise our rights as Americans, right? And that's 100%. That's a hallmark of being an American. You cannot stop peaceful protest, and anybody who tries to do that should be automatically punished and eliminated.
And I do think the right to free speech, since I've been on YouTube, I used to take it less seriously. It is the most important thing.
It's super important.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, Martin Luther King is the greatest example of how to do it. You know what I mean? And exercising that right. And again, it's old and all that kind of thing, but it stands true today. This is how you do it, and this is what makes this country great. You can't do this in any other country. I mean it. You really can't. Not in Western Europe, not in the UK, not in any of these countries. It is a very important right for our country.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is great conversation. I think this is needed. So if you do like healthy conversations where I am okay to be proven wrong, I actually want to be proven wrong. I don't want horrible people in America. I don't want ICE to be thugs. My opinion is they are. And I think they're undertrained. So I said the confusion. Do you agree with me? The confusion, even agent to agent, they're not on the same page. It doesn't look like a lot of these situations.
I would agree with that. And I would also say that it's not about getting a W and winning the argument, everybody. It's about discussing these things in a rational way. So
look, we're not going to get rid of ICE today, even if you're against them. So the best thing we could do is put pressure on elected officials to say they need to be more de-escalating. There needs to be better communication and more info on what ICE are allowed to do and are not allowed to do.
Yeah, and
that could help everyone, right?
Yes, and at the end,
and not everything is obstruction. I'm sorry.
No. But obstruction goes on every day. Go watch any cop cam videos on YouTube. So they get people for obstructing their investigation, interfering with their investigation.
But that also has to go to court.
It can.
It can go to court. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is that, remember, everybody, ICE is enforcing the laws on the books. These are the laws on the books, So vote for different laws if you don't like them. Now, as Max said, you can vote for maybe we should reform them or talk about how they.
I don't think you're just going to get abolish ICE. I don't want to fund it anymore because it's really disgusting at a time. My other issue with ICE right now is how much funding it's getting when all of these other programs are being defunded by the government and government employees that actually help people. I do not think that ICE is actually helping America right now. I think it's making us look bad on the world stage. It's embarrassing. It's agitating cities. And I do think that I do think President Trump is intentionally aiming them towards Democratic blue places.
No, I agree with that, because you know why though, Max? Why is he doing that? Because a lot of people are okay with illegal immigrants being, kicked out of the country.
Incorrect. I will correct you now. If you look at the polling before Trump got in, the majority were with him. Now the polling has flipped because they don't like the way it's being done.
Is that because of this or because of other things?
Lots of things.
I think personally.
It's because of what?
I think other things he's done has turned people against him.
No, on this specific issue.
On this specific issue.
Yeah, okay. I don't have all the. This is the thing I probably watch too much politics. I don't have the polls with me right now, but even on this specific issue, the way it's being done, people are not happy with. Like, I say, if they're illegal, they have to go through the process. Just treat them like humans. That's what I say, and that's not radical.
No,
use the law and don't deport them to a different place. Don't deport them to somewhere they didn't come from and put them in a jail. Like, what the F is that? El Salvador? Yeah, when they didn't come from El Salvador, there's major issues there.
Sure.
So yeah, if there has to be a department that deports people that are here illegally, treat them with like humans at least, and follow the laws. And I completely believe that the Trump administration is bypassing things just to make its quotas in the image, in intimidation. I do think they're doing this to intimidate.
I think so. And I also think he knows that no matter what his base doesn't like about what he does, they do like him deporting illegals.
I might try to do more research if we do this again, because this is fascinating stuff. What do you think, Voltaire? You like this kind of conversation?
I'm whatever. We're just talking.
Whatever. No, but I might like to do more research on the polls of before he was in office.
Yeah, for sure.
Of Americans wanting the illegal alien situation handled, and now based on recent events, how much it's changed.
So that's fine. And I think that, I agree with that. And what I don't agree with is that I think that he's had the people who voted him in, like, no foreign wars. He's doing a lot of that, right?
Absolutely. He is not a peacetime president at all.
Right. No influence from foreign governments. That's not happening. He's not doing America First stuff. But what he does know people love, or a group of people love, is let's get the illegals out of here. I think that
here's the other thing. Even if they do that, I don't think it's making Americans' lives better.
No, but support for him in his mind, he knows that gets people.
My wild idea is make it better to be an American the right way, the legal way. Give us better health care and better support for being a U.S. citizen. Make America great so much that people they don't want to be here illegally. They want to be here legally and go through the proper channels.
Right.
There's also, unfortunately, I've had some reports from personal family and acquaintances where they try to do the legal way, and the Trump administration has put certain countries on the back burner, and it's really hard to come here legally now in certain depending on where you're from.
So, and I'm going to tell you right now, anecdotally, I have the exact opposite. All right. Okay. I know somebody who literally, and she's an American citizen, born here, everything. She married a guy from Brazil. Okay. And he was here on a student visa, but then they got married. While he was on his student visa, okay, this fella got drunk, got in his car, and hit a cop car. Okay. But then, whatever, he went through the process of the crime and all that. Then he married this lady, And her attorney kept telling her, oh, well, we don't know what's going to happen. Guess what? He got his citizenship. So there are stories like that. I'm just saying, anecdotally. And it's because he did everything the right way. Like his student visa was about to expire. He did commit a crime, but he did the process. He paid his debt to society, whatever you want to say. Then he married a woman and they did the whole, whatever, I think it's K-9 visa. And he got a citizenship.
Okay.
You know, and she was terrified. And she came to my office. Again, I'm a lawyer, but I don't do immigration law. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so worried that when we go, they're going to arrest him and kick him out of the country. I go, but he's not here illegally, is he? No, but he's an immigrant. I go, okay, so he's doing why would they kick him out? But she was convinced they would. And she had an attorney who was telling her they would kick him out. And I was like, I'm not an immigration lawyer, but I don't know. And guess what? He got his citizenship. So there are stories. It's not as bad as what people are saying.
I would say you have one example of a different scenario than I did. I think it's mixed, and it depends on people's lived experience. Sure. I've heard bad stories. You've heard good stories. Okay, that's fair.
Anecdotal experiences. That's all they are. Yeah.
All right. So let's get we're already going 30 minutes. I don't want to go more than an hour on this pilot episode. No, because if we do these pre-recorded, we should get through. So here is a video about can ICE agents order you out of your car? Legal analyst. So let's analyze the legal analyst from CBS News Minnesota. Now this is mainstream media, but they have an expert on. So I will make an exception.
People don't trust CBS anymore, and they think they're in the pocket of the Trump administration, by the way. But go ahead.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that. I know you might disagree. Yeah, but all right. All right, here we go. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me I figured this out from my pal Kyle Kulinksi. He speeds it up a little bit for transformative reasons.
He is a constitutional law professor who has taught a class in police, criminal, and civil procedure. I spoke to him earlier this morning. And joining us now is Professor Schultz.
Thank you. And we'll stop on each important point.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I've seen him before.
Talk about his credentials first, Max. So he's a constitutional law professor. So that's federal law. And that means he's a quote unquote expert. And he is an expert in what your rights against the federal government are. And ICE is an arm of the an arm of the federal government.
I think it also might help what's the rights when you're in the public and what's your rights at your home, because we also had an incident where, did you know about the incident where someone ordered Uber and the Uber driver ran into the person's house?
No, I'm not aware of
because ICE was behind her, and then they didn't know what their rights were, and the police said, you got to get her out, you're harboring, and it was very confusing. So there's different scenarios, but so you're happy with his career. I've seen this guy before somewhere.
Well, he's a con law professor, constitutional law. He understands what the federal government, and remember, constitutional law is the Constitution, everybody, and God bless this country, is a document that says what the government's rights versus the citizens are, and what citizens' rights are versus the federal government.
And I'm really the MAGA fanboys, and I'm still going to call them that because it drives them insane. I thought they love their rights. So this is very hard for me to watch them cheer on people's rights being taken away, besides illegal immigrants. I know they don't like illegal immigrants, or they prefer illegal immigrants get out of here. But U.S. citizens' rights going away just because they play for a different team is
absolutely
disgusting.
Not. That's disgusting. That's gross.
Yeah. All right. So that's why I'm really having a hard time with this issue.
And so many people have them. Let's start with first.
Because just like if Biden was still there, I wouldn't want Biden to order agents to be able to take MAGA out of their cars just because, right?
Yeah.
Because they're wearing a red hat.
Yeah, of course not.
Right.
Agents,
even though I hate those hats,
you out of your car.
They can stop you. They can ask you a series of questions, but they can't force you out of the car. If they were to stop you, you can ask them at this point, "Am I under arrest?" And if they
that's good advice. I would be calm in any scenario where there's enforcement. It's honestly, you shouldn't have. That's my situation too, where I don't think you should have to be. Well, as a citizen, try to be calm, right? But you feel like you really have to walk on. It's beyond calm. You feel like you have to walk on eggshells with some of these people on the tipping point, you know.
Sure.
But yes, please be calm. Then do not antagonize them. And antagonize them is not a crime either. People say, oh, that's antagonizing and calling an asshole or F off ICE agent or F, you know, that's not.
You're allowed to do that.
What's that?
You're allowed to do that.
Right. I'm not saying it's polite. I wouldn't do it. I personally, if I ever, my family's like, be careful, Max. I'm like, I'm not going to antagonize ICE agents. I'm going to be polite and say, am I under arrest? Which he is recommending. You know, I will say, am I under arrest? If not, I'll sit here until you say I could leave, or I'll leave. And if they try to arrest me, I will actually go. I will get arrested, and I will say I want to speak with my attorney or lawyer.
So so I've seen this video already, so I know what he's going to say. What he's saying applies to ICE agents and regular police. Okay. They can't just pull you out of your car. They have to have a reason to pull you out of your car. They have to have an articulable suspicion of a crime being committed. Right. And if they don't, and you don't agree with them, what Max said is the right way to handle it. Say, okay, and then we'll go to court, and I will sue you.
But I think in the Renee Good situation, and we're going to do this as a Renee Good breakdown. I'm going to title that video of what happened before she drove away, because I think this is very important, because I know people don't agree on obstruction or if she intended. Intention is very important. If she intended to harm the agent, it seemed to me she at least was turning away. But what he is saying here, it does not seem like the agents met the bar to try to frantically open her door. And that's what escalated the situation, in my opinion. Confusion between agents and a U.S. citizen, and then also trying to open the door is when she started gassing it. So if what he is saying is accurate, I don't believe they bet the bar to try to get in that door. And that's what escalated the situation.
Right.
Okay.
They say no, then you can say, am I free to leave? And you're free to leave. But they can't necessarily force you out of the car, and they don't have the right to basically detain you unless they have some type of reason to arrest you.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
You ask.
Max, please.
Reason to arrest you. Okay.
Okay, so that's what we were talking about before we watched this video, right? He kind of glossed over that. They can't pull you out of the car unless they have some reason to arrest you.
Can we address the MAGA fanboys, because they 1,000% say that Renee was obstructing? I think there's a case to be made about obstruction, but I don't think that there's enough info there to say 1,000% that she was obstructing.
Not from the videos I've seen.
No, they are. That is where I say, MAGA fanboys, you're wrong. There could be a case if there's more information. The information provided to the public, there is not. I do not believe it reaches the bar of obstruction.
And trust me, those ICE agents are going to have to prove that in court.
Right, but they are acting like it's a fact.
No, you can't do that. We don't know.
No, they say she was instructing. I've had conversations with people in the comments saying that she should have stayed home. Was that the defense? No. Saying a U.S. citizen should stay home is not a defense for violence, and saying is justified from a U.S. From a government official taking action on a U.S. citizen. Saying they should have stayed home.
The videos we've seen are not enough to let us know what the quote unquote obstruction was. Right.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it is. There's not enough info. I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is. He seemed angry. It seemed the communication was bad, and it seemed confusing from my professional opinion of watching different angles. I've seen the officer's angle too. I do not, even if she did hit the officer, I don't think it was her intention.
Well, that's another level, right? You're getting beyond that.
No, that's just my personal opinion, right?
No, but the level one is, were they, because he was telling her,
isn't intention important in cases where someone gets hurt?
It is.
Yes.
But level 1 is, was he allowed to order her out of the car?
Mm-hmm.
Level 2 then becomes, was she trying to run him over? But level 1 is, did he have a right to tell her to get out of the car? And we don't know that. We can't tell those facts from.
Well, this professor here saying they may not have, unless they, no, he said unless they're breaking the law,
right?
Which goes back to the obstruction accusation. My biggest issue is he just blanketly, and that's how he got elected. He just constantly throws attacks at his opponent, whether they're true or not, and tries to prove it later. Tries to find the obstruction.
Right.
Attack first and try to frame obstruction after the fact.
Right.
There's also a situation where I feel like his employees, it's more like he doesn't give permission, but he doesn't necessarily give permission for this stuff, but then he will what does he do to people? He lets them off. What's a pardon?
Oh, yeah.
He'll pardon them after. So I think that is actually his template. Do what you need to. I'll pardon you later. I'm not giving you permission, but I'll pardon you. And I feel like that's the other reason why things are so volatile. They know that their leader has pardoning power.
That's on the table for sure.
Right. So I don't necessarily think you're going to find where Donald Trump says, go ahead and be overly aggressive, but he's like, wink, wink. I'll pardon you later, though, if you stay on my team.
Right.
All right. So we'll just do this topic because we're really doing a deep dive on this. Okay.
Arrest. All right. Let me ask you this. Can ICE go into schools on private property?
No, they cannot unless they have a warrant. I mean, one of the things
a judicial warrant.
The Constitution is really basically a Fourth Amendment
just
requirement.
Like regular warrant.
If they try,
what's that?
Just like regular police.
Yeah. But they can say, "Can I enter?" And if you say yes, you've already given. It's like a vampire.
Right. Yes.
It's like I like to
yeah.
For the easiest way to know your rights about police and stuff. Ultimately, if I'm not guilty, I'm still asking for an attorney. And I watch too much TV. And I have too many friends that are lawyers to just be like, I don't care. I want to help, but I'm asking for my attorney right away.
Never consent to any searches, everybody. I don't care what you've done or what you haven't done. Never.
And if an ICE agent or a police officer is at your front door and they ask, can I come in?
Never.
And you say yes, you've given permission.
They're dying for that. And if the cops ever call you up and tell you, hey, come on in, we just want to have a talk. Never go without an attorney. Never give them anything.
Right. But that's the thing I think people are also missing on the left is when they come to your house and they just ask and you don't go through I want my attorney or I want to see a warrant. You're giving them permission.
It's
just like
cops go up at your door and they say stuff. Yeah.
No, it's just like I say, just think of them like vampires.
Correct.
Would you let a vampire when they show up? Or is that werewolves? Is that vampires or werewolves?
No, that's vampires. They won't come in unless they're invited.
Yeah, they won't come into the door frame unless they're invited. Yes. Is that a wrong way to think of it?
No, that's a good way to think of it, actually.
Right. All right. Let's go. I am an entertainment YouTuber getting into politics, not the other way around.
To enter your private property or private space of a school or anything like that, the school has the perfect constitutional right to say you may not enter unless you have a search warrant signed by a real judge.
Can ICE detain U.S. citizens and people who may not be citizens but have permits to work and live here legally?
No, they enjoy the same constitutional rights as U.S. citizens, and it's the same thing. Unless they have...
People don't know that either. That is an important part. Yeah.
Okay. But unless... Listen to what he says.
All right.
Grounds for arresting them, which either means witnessing a crime or having a warrant for their arrest, they may not detain them. And these individuals, if arrested, are entitled to a court hearing where the government...
They're not, as far as I could tell, since the Trump administration has been deporting people to El Salvador, they have been not letting them have their court cases.
But he's talking about people who are here legally.
Huh?
It was people who are here legally.
Legally and illegally.
Was that rewind a bit? I'm curious now what her question was.
Okay. All right. Citizens, ICE detained non-citizen who is here
Legally.
Oh, a non-citizen who is here legally. Okay.
Right. That means someone who's
So
a green card or
okay.
on a student visa.
Oh,
Right.
okay. All right. I think
Yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah.
All right.
Work and live here legally.
No, they enjoy the same constitutional rights as U.S. citizens, and it's the same thing. Unless they have grounds.
Not the ones, so that's a good differential, not the ones that got here that are illegal that came through illegally.
Correct. Or
Okay.
their visas are expired or whatever.
So they don't necessarily, do they have the right to a court
No.
case?
If your visa expires, you're no longer here legally.
So then you don't even have the right to a court case.
Bingo. You don't have the same constitutional
Okay.
right as somebody who
All right. So I may have been incorrect on that point. I didn't. This is helpful for me too. Okay. People that are here on, okay, if ICE detains you and I would like them to get court cases too, but okay, if that's the case, then what do? You go the proper routes and if you don't like the law, contact your representatives, right?
Yeah.
That's what you say, right? If you don't like it, go the proper route. Okay.
Or for arresting them, which either means witnessing a crime or having a warrant for their arrest, they may not detain them. And these individuals, if arrested, are entitled to a court hearing where the government has to prove why they're detaining them.
Vice President J.D. Vance said last week that the ICE agent who did the shooting has complete immunity. Does he have complete immunity, and can he be charged locally?
He does not have absolute immunity, as the vice president indicated. Instead, we have to think about sort of 3 stages that have to be overcome before an ICE agent could be, let's say, held criminally responsible at the local level. First, you would have to address the issue of the supremacy clause, that in general, state and local governments cannot charge federal officials with crimes unless they can show that they were not acting as federal officials. Once you overcome that,
you pause that.
Okay.
So what he's talking about is, if a federal agent is enforcing federal law legally, local state agencies cannot charge that federal agent. If they're engaging in legal, you see what I mean, right? Because that's one of the things people are saying.
But then we go back to the obstruction. Was it legal obstruction or was it just a pretext?
Yeah. So this
is the
is
same question. Yeah.
This is like the governor of Minnesota has said, we don't want ICE here. The mayor has said of Minneapolis that we don't want ICE here. Why can't
he's allowed to say that?
They're allowed to say that. But the question is, if they don't want them here, can we charge them for being stuff? Not if they're enforcing federal law.
If their obstruction claims were not legal.
Correct.
It always goes back to that.
Yeah.
This whole case goes back to, was Renee Good actually obstructing
right
ICE?
Were these people acting legally within their
was the deadly force justified?
Yeah, that's again,
even if she was obstructing, right?
But some people think, hey, state of Minnesota governor said we don't want them here. The mayor said we don't want them here. What the hell are they doing here? Let's arrest them. You can't do that, is my point, right?
You can't just arrest the ICE agents. Okay.
No.
I knew I wasn't suggesting that either.
No, but that was the question. That's why she asked that question. It was a good question.
I think you could. I would assume you could. I would hope that you could potentially arrest the agent that used deadly force. There may be a case against him that he wasn't being lawful with the obstruction. It seemed more volatile. There's questions there for sure. At least very minimum barrier. There's a big questions and big alarm bells.
Sure.
Okay. All right. This is healthy conversation. Let's finish this out. We'll close this pilot episode of the Pro Bro Show where we take the hottest topic and use nuance and try to be unbiased as possible. Some are going to say Voltaire is unbiased and I am biased. I don't believe it. I'm also new to.
I thought.
No, I'm also, depending on who's watching, you're doing something right if you get yelled at both sides.
Sure.
That's the true path to success.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be better, and I hope these ICE agents want to be better too, and I hope the MAGA fanboys want to be better as well. But you have to remove your face from his ass to. Oh, listen, I really dislike idolizing politicians.
Of course not. We shouldn't.
It's disgusting.
It's not what this country is about.
No. So that's my biggest issue with him and his fanboy group. Is like and for exactly what you said. I thought we were the peace president, and he was going to make costs go down. He hasn't really done anything, he said, except bringing taxes down. Not for you, for billionaires.
Well, no, he's also, look, Max, he promised to eliminate illegals, and he's been doing that. See, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, of all the promises he made, those are the couple that he's actually come through on. But go ahead.
All right. But that's not why he got elected. Why he got elected was, I think any president candidate that says, I'm going to bring down costs day one is going to get in.
Sure.
Maybe not anymore after his fumble.
He did a lot of stuff like the high school president who said that I'm going to make the drinking fountain start to produce beer instead of water. You know what I mean? Like, people are, yeah, that's great. Or make a soda if you want to say, but it doesn't work that way.
All right. Well, let's finish this out and end the show and get your comments in on what you want to see in this series.
Immunity of law enforcement officials to be able to use force, including deadly force. And as we learned with the Derek Chauvin trial, if you can overcome that, and it's a high bar to overcome.
That's what I want. That was the most important part of this. Okay. Obstruction. It's a high bar to overcome, is what he's saying. Even with and Chauvin was found guilty, regardless of what the fanboys want to say. He was found guilty in a court of law.
Right.
Yeah. So the use of deadly force, it should be a high bar, which I agree with that.
100%.
I don't think based on not being in court and being a bystander and a viewer on the internet, as far as I could tell, I do not think it was anywhere near the bar to justify deadly force.
Personally, I would agree with you. He was handcuffed. You could have just left him lying there. He's not going to do anything.
No. And Renee Good.
Oh, yeah. Based on the video, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Based on what we have right now, without more context, more info, I would say I don't think it reached anywhere near that bar where the fanboys on each are saying with 1,000% certainty it has. Some say just being there protesting and leaving your house is enough to obstruct ICE. You shouldn't protest ICE. Even if ICE is being the best agent you could be, 1,000% to the law, not using deadly force, you have the right to protest them.
So, and everybody remember, it's going to be how convincing his testimony is. He was standing in front of that car. I thought she was going to hit me. I don't think I was going to be able to get out of the way at the time. And they're going to say that the wheels were turned. He's going to say, I couldn't tell that. She was coming at me. It's just how believable is his testimony. But this is
but he doesn't even have to go on trial because of him being pardoned or whatever. Or no, he'd have to go to trial first to be pardoned, right?
Correct. He'd have to be found guilty and then pardoned.
Okay.
He can't.
That is also an important point here, that for this officer to be pardoned, he has to be tried first.
And found guilty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's also an important factor here. All right.
Of a crime. So there is no such thing as absolute immunity, but it is going to be difficult to charge at the state and local level. But a victim's family, in this case, Good's family, could bring a civil rights lawsuit against the U.S. government.
Yes. All right, that was one of my questions. Can the FBI kick Minnesota out of the investigation, which it has done?
Yes, it can. Is it good practice to do that? No. Is it generally good practice for them to cooperate? Yes. But they can block them out. But that also means that can the state and local government in Minnesota?
They can legally. So, he said it's not good optics, but what you could do as a citizen is contact your representatives.
Yeah, sorry. Right? So I said no at first because I was thinking, can they override federal law? They can't.
So no, he's saying could the federal agents kick out Minnesota representatives. And he said, I think isn't that what is he saying? And he
Yeah,
said
yeah,
they
yeah.
can.
And they do it. Yeah, yes.
And they can legally. And he said optically it looks bad.
But that's
But
irrelevant.
then what you can do as a citizen is contact your representatives.
So this is
put
like
pressure on
everybody. We've seen these cop movies, right? Where there's a state cops and then the FBI comes in and the FBI says, this is my investigation. I'm the local cop. And the FBI goes, I'm the FBI. As soon as federal law is invoked, okay, that's it. The federal government takes over. You can't state law cannot override.
But it's your right as a citizen to pressure the government.
Yeah,
and through your representatives, your representatives.
Yeah. But go ahead.
All right.
Minneapolis do their own investigation? Yes. This is not productive. This is not good. But the feds can block the state out, and the state and the local are still empowered to be able to do their own investigation.
Can that investigation, the local investigation, stand up if they have no access to a lot of the evidence and even the law enforcement officers and some witnesses?
That's going to pose a problem for being able to do the investigation here, because they will not have access to being able to interview, for example, the ICE agents, and they won't have access to a variety of other documents, and their ability to be able to subpoena them will be significantly limited. So it's going to clearly hinder the state and local investigation.
All right.
I think they need to get more experts on like this and less politicians.
Yeah.
That was very insightful. That was great. And I appreciate you viewers watching. Please let us know if you learned anything from this. I've learned a little bit. I think that helps. I think there's a lot of questions here. And please be peaceful with your protests across the board. And don't be an asshole about human life across the board.
100%.
Yeah. Any final thoughts we want to say, Voltaire? I enjoyed this. This is heavy on my mind. This is actually why I started to do the channel. I had some really nasty comments I was not searching out for on Facebook, mocking Renee Goods. I will tell you right now, I was on a local news channel on Facebook last week. That is not a political channel. It's just a local news channel.
Right.
And the comments in there are horrendous, saying memes on Renee Good about like, how porn star, and then, like how porn stars take something to the face.
Right.
And it disgusted me. Yeah. And I said, you're horrible people. And I thought about doing political channel after that. And then I slept on it and I didn't. And then it just keeps coming back up and I can't take it anymore. And I do not like such disregard for life and mocking it. And that's the age of the internet across the board. We've seen both teams do this. It's just be relentless. Haha, they lost one of their team players. Wow. So that's what got me started on the path to doing this channel, was this disgusting comments. She was a mother. I do not believe she had the intention to hurt anyone. I don't. I don't even think the ICE agent potentially did, except when he got angry.
Right.
And then I believe he let anger take over. That's my final thoughts. Any final thoughts before we end at an hour? I want to get before an hour. Voltaire.
Yeah, just quickly, everybody, look into it. That's all I'm saying. Try to have some nuance. Don't just react.
And research your rights.
Correct.
In the proper channels.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.